Greetings, Recruiting Nation. I'm Senior Chief Boerner. Today we're going to be talking about prospecting. Prospecting is a means that we need to take at every action possible to get in front of the most people in the most efficient time. We need to get in front of the most qualified people in the most efficient time. The three main purposes to prospect is one, create Navy awareness, right? We want to fill the applicant log with qualified interviews, and then we also want to gather enough blueprinting information while we're prospecting and actively seeking qualified people to join the Navy that merit follow-up that could potentially be qualified. So when we're first thinking about prospecting, the very first thing to think about is one, what is your territory breakdown? Whether you're a recruiter in charge or a recruiter, you must first identify what your AOR, your area of responsibility, is going to be. Where are you going to conduct your SOAR at, your School of Area Responsibility? Once you take your territory breakdown and you've identified the zip codes with the highest propensity to enlist, now you're going to develop your prospecting plan on your planner, which we will talk about in a later discussion. Parts of prospecting that need to be considered are one, what are your sources of prospecting? To start off, your sources of prospecting most have to come from your high schools, right? Because your high schools have the greatest amount of qualified individuals that can join the Navy. So again, you want to get in front of as many people as possible at every opportunity possible. So one, conducting your school visit to obtain your school list. Utilize your resources. Let your chain of command know of any potential roadblocks that you may have. Utilize your ESS that may need to make a visit. Talk to your chain of command, schedule those school visits to obtain those lists and identify any issues that you're possibly having. Some other good sources for prospecting, especially when you're trying to get into your schools, is to schedule NROTC talks. Whenever you're going to your school, get in front of those gatekeepers, principal, counselors, whatever the case may be, have that NROTC talk. Talk to them about the Navy Community College program. It's just recently hit the streets. Talk about all the things that we do in terms of the college credits that every single enlisted individual is going to get from their A schools that are all 100% college accredited by the American Council on Education. This will give the educators and the counselors the whiffum, if you will, for them on why the Navy is a good opportunity educationally for them. Other good sources of prospecting that you must identify, community events. Look, if you've got a territory, you've got a city, you've got to paint that thing navy blue. If there's an event going on in your community, be part of it. Be seen. Be a known entity, not only in your school, but in your community. We're going to talk in a later video about some best practices when it comes to prospecting. So I'm about to actually break down on the planner the actual prospecting numbers. Take into account that these numbers would come from Salesforce in your PATE. This is just a big, wide representation of what you would see on your planner from Salesforce. When developing a prospecting plan, you first must have to understand your PATE numbers from Salesforce. So let's say, for instance, just using as an example, if I, as a recruiter, have my PATE numbers, which say, for instance, are for the entire month, are 30 appointments and 25 interviews. The way we want to break down those ratios is take that total number and then divide it by 3. The reason why we want to divide it by 3 is so that we can front load our activity. We want to front load our activity in the month, the week, and the day to make sure that we have enough time to make up missed activity and to also achieve our goals as early as possible, right? So if we have our appointments of 30 divided by 3, that'll give us 10 for the week. To get the numbers for the day, same thing, divide by 3. Now that's going to break that down to 3.3. Anytime for a number for prospecting ratios, we're always going to round up, all right? So we round it up to 4. So those are our numbers. And then interviews, same thing. We're going to divide by 3. And we understand the reason why we have a little bit less interviews than appointments is we're going to go ahead and factor in no-shows, because no matter how great of a recruiter you are, you're going to have some no-shows. So we want to factor that in and take that into account. Then we just break those numbers down again. and divide by 3 to front load the activity. Now, on your Salesforce planner, you have to put those prospecting numbers and ratios in the correct time slot. So for your overall month time slot for appointments and interviews, you're going to put it 06 to 06:30, your total number of appointments and interviews for the month. Then on your planner, that's going to be on Monday, right? So Monday on your planner, you'll have your overall month numbers, then it'll break it down to your weekly numbers from 6:30 to 07. And again, all you have to do, total number divided by 3, and then your daily numbers break down. Divide that number by 3. Now when you're actually inputting it on your actual planner, you're going to have your number that you need to do. So Monday's always going to be your heaviest prospecting day. You want to hit the deck running on Monday and make as many appointments as possible. You don't want to plan for interviews, but hey, if interviews happen, great, but you can't plan for people to make the appointment and set the interview that day, right? So we break down our numbers for the day, front loading our activity, making Monday as the heaviest prospecting day. Then we're going to take that number from that week, divide it by 3 to have 4 appointments on Monday. And you can do different combinations. If you wanted to put 5 or more down for Monday, that's fine. But say, for instance, you can have Monday with 4 appointments, no interviews planned, Tuesday, another 4 appointments, and then Tuesday starting the interview showing up for 4, Wednesday only 2 appointments, and then 3 interviews scheduled, and then Thursday no appointments and only 2 interviews scheduled. Now the whole point of it is to set as much activity in the beginning of the week as necessary to achieve your goals early, so that way it frees up Friday, perfect world scenario, to not have any appointments or interviews that you need to have for the week to ensure that on Fridays you're doing your division and your station training. Next, we'll actually discuss another type of prospecting plan to actually fill your planner up with activities. Once you set up your Salesforce planner to properly account for all the prospecting ratios that you need to be successful, take into account the type of evolutions that are in a quadrant prospecting plan and input those on your planner. So take into account normal activities you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday being your heaviest prospecting days. Then you should have your 9 to 12 being your school, 12 to 1500 being in your actual SOAR around your school, putting up rad racks or whatever the case may be, and then leaving time on Friday to allow for those station and division trainings. But the quadrant prospecting plan will help fill out your planner Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday especially, and then always setting you up for success with tangible goals and evolutions that are eventually lead you with appointments and interviews. And then the appointments and interviews will always go on the planner. When we're talking about our prospecting ratios, other important things to take into consideration is attrition and also MEPS conversion. Easy way to do that is whatever your station and or division's average attrition and or MEPS conversion ratio is, add that into your prospecting ratio numbers. Now, when we're talking about our prospecting, we discussed the actual prospecting ratio numbers that you're going to have. Now let's talk about a type of prospecting plan that's known as the quadrant prospecting plan. That way our new recruiters have an actual plan to do from 9 to 12, 12 to 15, and 15 to 1800. When a recruiter comes into the office, what's important is start early, secure early. They need to be in the office as soon as possible, right? 0900, if not before, is go time, right? Too many times I've seen recruiters where they come in and instead of starting their day to actually prospect and go find people, they're checking their email. Just like we talked about with the prospecting ratios where the numbers need to be front loaded, your activities in what you do to start the day needs to be prospecting focused and oriented so that way you can achieve your goals and keep in mind the gate days, right? So coming into the office at 09, putting onto the planner, you should have your SOAR, your School of Area Responsibility. On that SOAR, you should give yourself tangible goals in your plan to achieve while at your high school. Some tangible goals to achieve while at your high school could be as simple as having individuals pulled out of class that have ASVAB scores through your guidance office. The counselors in the school deem it appropriate that you can do so, having that first interaction to set up an appointment with an individual with a qualifying ASVAB score. The number one priority When you go to your schools after you've established yourself and you're a known entity and you've already talked to the gatekeepers, you've met the faculty and the staff, and they're allowing you to come onto campus to do your recruiting evolutions, is high school presentations. I won't dive too deep into high school presentations now, but that should be the goal and focus of a recruiter while they're there. Listen, if all you can do is a table setup, great, do it, whatever it is. Some schools are more stringent than others, but if you have a school that allows you to do presentations, your priority from 9 to 12 should be in your high school. If you have rap duty personnel, bring them with you, walk them around, introduce them to their principal or reintroduce them to their principal, faculty, and staff that they may know. That's going to give you credibility, and this is going to help open doors when they see what the Navy has done for that young man or woman. When you're bringing them to the school, you want to set up any type of presentations, meet with the counselors, establish COIs. When you're looking at your presentations and what you're doing from 9 to 12 and the faculty that you're meeting, an easy in is always JROTC, but what you're really looking to do is get into those STEM classes with those individuals who have the propensity to score well on the ASVAB to fill those hard-to-fill jobs the Navy needs, like nuke and spec war. Now, say for instance, your day at the school is over and you can't do anything else. When you're going out into your SOAR, School of Area Responsibility, look at your zip codes and make sure that you're going to the zip codes and the schools that have a high propensity to enlist with quality. Where's the quality market at? What are those target market centers, and what can you do to penetrate that market? Some of the things that you can do when you're in your SOAR, give yourself tangible goals. You can do something as simple as Googling veteran-owned businesses, going out there and trying to set up rad racks. Conduct door knocks in the area, right? Whatever you have, say for instance, you have a lead that comes in, no phone number, that should be somebody that is actually door knocked. Maybe you have somebody who took the ASVAB the year before, nobody was able to get a hold of them. Go ahead and door knock the individual and leave a hanger to give that recruiter tangible goals to do things in their area. Now, the other thing to do when you're in that quadrant is to run police record checks, any kind of medical documentation or help that you need to do to streamline the genesis process, do that as well. But you need to hit the deck running as soon as you come to work, get into your schools, have a plan. Presentations are always a priority in those priority classes. Then go out into your area if you have nothing else to do in your school, set up those rad racks, penetrate the market, find the veteran-owned businesses. Now, when you're done with that, come 15 to 1800, now you're actually doing your phone power, right? Do your phone power to those surveys. Those are individuals who have filled out a survey or QR code that have already seen your presentation, that should be somewhat interested, if not all the way interested in what the Navy has to offer. Could be, should be an easy appointment. That way you can hold. You're also contacting your leads in any type of referral prospecting that you can do. But the point is this: Monday, hit the deck running, start the day, be positive, be energetic, be in the best mood, take care of yourself, both mind, body, and spirit. Hit the deck running to set yourself up for a successful week. Always take into account other important things that you must do, right? Other important things that you must do: PT 3 times a week. Take into account CDBs, Sailor 360 training, all your in-rate studies, and then Fridays, set those to the side to do station and division training to learn lessons learned, do some positive training, and keep the momentum going. The point is, get started early, finish early, and set yourself up for success the next month. Let's talk about some best practices when it comes to prospecting. We already discussed about the school lists, going to your schools, making that visit, having NROTC talks. You want to get involved in your school as much as possible. If there's a football game, be there. If there's a drama club, even if it's something that you personally aren't interested whatsoever, we'll be honest with you, I was never into drama. It's not my thing. But back in the day of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a long time ago, I made it a point that when the drama club was having plays, even though I had zero interest in it, I wanted to go. So that way, after hours, I can show my support for that program and ultimately get in front of them to set appointments, hold those interviews, fill up my applicant log with qualified interviews to at least plant the seed. Because what we have to understand is recruiting is a numbers business. It's all about how many people you can get in front of, the right people to get in front of in the most efficient time. So if your school has an event going on, be there. If you have special attributes or things that you're good at, right? I had a CM2 who's obviously good at mechanics, or you would hope, right? Who got involved in his school at the technical center. So he would go there, do presentations, help out in auto and shop to get in front of qualified students and at least plant that seed of the opportunities that we have to offer. Another example of something amazing that was totally not my idea whatsoever. I had an amazing AO1, the great AO1 Montez Andry. One time during a kit up that he was doing with an applicant, he's sitting there doing paperwork with an applicant, explaining to him what he needed to do, told him exactly what he needed to do, had him fill out his NACES separate from his desk, and while he was waiting for him to complete that paperwork, AO1 starts phone powering and setting appointments, right, with qualified individuals from his high school lists. Get in front of as many people as possible in your community. Look to see what events your community has. Talk to your chain of command and your PAO and discuss with them potential meetings with the mayor of the town. Meet with council members in your community, as many people as possible that you can get in front of. Be a known entity. When you're out conducting your SOAR, your School of Area Responsibilities, and you're in your hot zip codes that have the highest propensity to enlist, some of the things that you should be doing is canvassing your areas specifically around those target high schools and community colleges, especially mom and pop owned businesses. You should go in, introduce yourself, request permission to put a rad rack. Now here's the deal, I get it, right? When I was recruiting, it was 2007. It was a different world. You may be thinking to yourself, well, those brochures and those rad racks, that's old stuff. You're absolutely right, it is. It's primarily for old people. And the way that I want you to think about it is, when you're out and about canvassing your area and you take that rad rack that you didn't pay for, that's leaving seeds in your area that are going to generate leads. Maybe not necessarily for the 17 to 21-year-old. I'm going to tell you right now, if my 22-year-old did not have a plan in life, do you think that me as a 43-year-old man sitting on the bench waiting to get my haircut would not notice the brochure racks sitting next to me that actually was sitting next to me last night, as a matter of fact, right? I couldn't help but sit there and read it. Think about like this. When you're putting out those rad racks, you're not only sending those out to the 17 to 21-year-olds, you're giving those out for potential parents and grandparents who may be waiting and have nothing else better to do than looking at the brochure, and maybe they'll bring that home. Just maybe. As many things as you can do to get the Navy known, do it, right? When you're out and about, look into Google. Google veteran-owned businesses. When you find those veteran-owned businesses, go talk to them. Give them a thank you bag full of goodies, your business card, a government pen, Navy pen, whatever the case may be, right? So that way you can be a known entity, establish centers of influence, and a real COI is someone who actually is sending you people to join the Navy, right? Go back and check on your rad racks. See if they need to be, filled up again. Go talk to those veteran-owned businesses. Get in front of them. Be known. Listen, if you're out and about eating, doing whatever you're doing, whoever you're standing next to, talk to them. You have nothing to lose. And I get it. If you're a new recruiter, it can be uncomfortable to break the ice and talk to people that you don't know. That's the business that we're in, to talk to as many people at every opportunity. And if you're in a line, say for instance at Popeyes, love that chicken, right? And you're in a line, and you're not next to somebody who's 17 or 21, and you're next to, say, someone who's a senior citizen, right? Talk to them. Hey, how are you? What do you get in order? Oh, me too, delicious. I love it as well. Hey, by the way, my name is Senior Chief Boerner. How you doing today? Good, right? Give them your business card. What if they have a grandkid that they're trying to get up out of their house that it doesn't have a plan? every opportunity possible. Check it out. Get in front of pro-Navy people. And as a matter of fact, especially if you're older like myself and you have a child who's attending a high school, get to the PTA. At the PTA events, talk, just whatever you can do. If you have a child on the football team, my son played football, right, for Prattville High in Alabama. I was on the booster club, right? I would be the secretary. I would do fundraising at the end of every little meeting that we would have. Does anyone else have anything to offer? Yes, I do. Everybody just kind of understand what my job is. I'm the Navy College and Career Representative here in Central Alabama and West Georgia. If your kids, for whatever reason, have never had a scholarship or have been denied a scholarship, talk to me, see if they're qualified for some of our Navy College scholarships. Every opportunity possible, whatever you're good at, whatever you have passion for, whatever community service event that you want to get involved in, do what you like to do, seem happy and motivated. When you're out there prospecting, be in the best state of mind. I understand, I get it. Recruiting is fast-paced. A lot of things are being thrown at you, and not every day is as awesome as you would like it to be. But try to be in your best state of mind. You have to take care of yourself. Be in the best place mentally, physically, and spiritually, whatever spiritually may or may not be for you. So that way, when you encounter people, they see that there's something positive about you. Have your uniform looking good. Have your nails done, your hair, whatever it is. You need to look the part so that when you're out there prospecting, getting in front of as many people as possible, filling the applicant log with qualified interviews, creating Navy awareness, gathering as much blueprinting information as you can to see if it merits follow-up, look the part, and inspire people on a daily basis. When you're conducting your prospecting evolutions and you're at your high schools, we already talked about the importance of, one, meeting the gatekeepers, getting in front of the principal, getting in front of the counselors. Next thing you need to think about when you're prospecting, because again, the whole purpose of it is to fill the applicant log with qualified interviews, create Navy awareness, gather enough blueprint information to say, hey, who should I follow back up with that could potentially join? Think about it like this. When you're at your high school and you have your lists and you've met with people, you need to start conducting your presentations. Talk to faculty members. Be a known entity at your school. Talk to your chain of command about it. Think outside the box. Think about different ways to become known at your school. Maybe instead of going out and spending money every single day, which is good too, go out to fast food places and meet people, try this. Maybe try, not to say it'll work, it may not, but you know what? Try as many things legally as possible, see if they work, and then try new things the next day when you're prospecting. Why not eat your lunch in the faculty lounge? Why not get to know the faculty, teacher, and staff? So that way you can talk to them. I wouldn't necessarily say initially, right? As soon as you see them, introduce yourself. Be a normal person. Let them know who you are, right? Have your lunch. Have just normal banter about everyday things. Get to know them so that way they're more apt to allow you into their classes to conduct presentations. Give them the with them, what's in it for me, but necessarily what's in it for them when it comes to setting up those high school presentations. Let them know, hey, you're here to help the community and the youth at this school better themselves. Whatever it is that they're going to do, you should emphasize the importance of education and ultimately having a plan. Because let's be honest, these high school students, by the time they graduate, if they don't have a plan, that's where they can get into trouble and get into situations that'll stop them from being successful. Get in front of as many people, conduct those presentations, and we'll talk about that in a later subject. Now let's talk about another avenue or mode of prospecting that a lot of times is underutilized, right? Prospecting your RAP duty personnel, Recruiter Assistance Program. When the RAP duty personnel are assigned to you, first of all, plant the seeds. When your future sailors are getting ready to go to RTC and go to boot camp, let them know about the program. That should be standard before they ship out. Hey, and don't forget, when you graduate from boot camp, your A school, whatever the case may be, when you come back home, let me know and come work at the office for 5 days doing the recruiter assistance program to help out the recruiters. When they come to your office, don't just have them doing cleanups or whatever easy stuff you have around the office. Get them suited and booted, dress uniform, go to their schools, help them help you to sell the Navy. Hey, today, BM3, we're going to go to your schools. I'm going to walk you around. We're going to say hi to every single teacher that made a positive impact in your life. We're going to go talk to the principal. Whatever the case may be, put your RAP duty personnel to work. Because again, this is a numbers game. If you have help, utilize it and get in front of as many people in the most effective manner possible to get people in the Navy.